Hey, Andrew here. We're going to take a look at the Holosun HE503R-GD circle dot. So many freaking letters here. So the GD in this doesn't stand for what you think it does. It actually stands for gold dot, so watch your mouth. The gold dot refers to the fact that instead of being a green or red reticle, now this one is an amber or gold colored reticle. And if you're thinking like I did when I first saw this advertised, you're probably thinking, who freaking cares? It's red or green or gold, or what does it even matter? Well, I can tell you that, at least to my eye, and this is somewhat subjective, you know what? Yeah, it does pop a little easier. To my eye, and there's a lot of disagreement out there, red reticles are faster to me than green reticles are. And I know a lot of you guys think that green reticles are a lot faster. You're not wrong, it's just different. To me, this amber reticle is a little bit faster than both red and green. And I know there's a lot of different colors and lots of different, the bottom line is it's an electronic sight, which of course is going to be pretty fast. It's got a nice big 65 MOA circle and the 1 MOA dot, so fairly similar to an EOTech. Also very similar to other Holosun sights in the form factor as well as the operation. What I find a little bit different about this that took me a moment to get used to is that to adjust the brightness, you turn the knob, that's nothing new, but to switch between the dot and the circle with the dot, you run the knob all the way to the final position, that changes it, and then you can dial back to the brightness that you want. So long as you don't touch that final position, you can dial brightness up and down to your heart's content. But when you hit that final last stop, it changes between a dot or a dot with a circle. What that means is that this brightness adjustment knob doesn't go all the way around like it does on some sites. Some sites you can just keep cranking, and that also means that you can have it on the 0 position, off, and then turn it immediately to full power. You can't do that with a Holosun. So I don't know if any of you guys were following me. Maybe there's like one guy that's watching this video that saw a video I did on my own channel years ago where I reviewed a similar 503, I want to say it's GU. I can't keep up with all the nomenclature of them, but it's the instant on, not solar powered version. And I dunked it in some water and it shit the bed. Actually twice. I dunked it in a river a few inches under. It got water, muddy water inside of it, so like actually a significant leak. Sent that back to Holosun. They sent me another one. I dunked that in a bucket of water. It let water in also. So we're going to submerge this in some water, see if it can hold up to that. We're also going to shoot this on something that has a little bit more recoil to it. Holosun is one of those in the middle of the road as far as price is concerned. And there are sites out there that are less expensive and definitely shittier. There are sites out there that are a lot more expensive and definitely better. From what I understand, Holosun has really stepped up their game substantially in regard to quality since that site that I tested back in the day. So we'll find out if Holosun is producing better quality optics now than they were before, because I'm going to beat the crap out of this.
The next day.
All right, guys, I promised that we were going to come up with something that recoils a lot to test this with. And our friends at Brownells came up with this ridiculous beast to test it with. I have no idea whether this sight is going to hold up to it. I know it's not designed to shoot on a 50. So this is well in excess of anything that the manufacturer would probably want us to test, which is exactly the point. So it's on right now. Let's see if it stays on after we send one of these downrange. Oh, you feel that in your sinuses. It is still on. Give it another one. Be mean to it, Private. Wow, feels like getting punched in the face. But yeah, this is still running. Woo! Okay, so my friend shot it a couple more times off camera, total of 4 rounds of 50 through it. I'm sorry, I've been saying that incorrectly this whole time. Apparently the correct way to pronounce this is Fiddy. So there's been 4 rounds of Fiddy through this, and it's still working. I mentioned yesterday that I had tested one of the other Holosun sites in water, and it allowed water in. So again, this is pretty unfair. So if it doesn't pass, don't be too hard on them, because, you know, it's not designed for a 50, Fiddy. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the sight off, dunk it in the water, and we'll see if it's still working. It's on. They say you hold them down until the bubbles stop.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
It's still on. We'll get this thing dried off and see if any water got inside of this. All right, so we gave it a little bit of time to dry off because we can't see for sure if there's something inside of it until the outside is really dry. And yep, there is no water on the inside of this. Of course, theoretically, it's possible that there could be a tiny amount of water that would only show up as fog in a couple of years in the right weather conditions and all that. But to my eye, nope, it didn't let water in. The site that I tested that failed years ago, you could immediately see that there were drops of water in there, easily visible. So I'm confident that this kept everything out. It far exceeded my expectations, because that's just wrong and brutal to do to this site. I mentioned yesterday that to my eye, this amber colored reticle, it does pop a little bit more. Like it's just a little bit faster to my eye, and I think that that's mostly subjective. I'd recommend that if you have the chance, that you compare red, green, and amber colored reticles in person, because a lot of this, like I said, totally subjective, and the way you see things is probably going to be a little different than the way I see things. All right, so we shot a quick 3-shot group here, and you can see that the reticle is at least sticking together for 3 shots in a row. It's not wandering around all over the place. Sometimes what can happen when you beat up a sight is that internally the reticle just starts flopping around, and from shot to shot to shot you'll see these huge groups. So I'm guessing the 50 didn't really do any damage inside. There aren't a lot of other things that I could test for this site. The manual claims that the battery life is 100,000 hours. Sorry, I don't have 10 years to test whether the battery will last for 100,000 hours. But according to the manual, if you set it on brightness level 6, which is pretty dim for daylight, I can not see it, and you only use the dot, then it's supposed to last for 100,000 hours. With the circle and turned up to a level that's visible in daylight and comfortable, it's going to last a lot less. But because the battery's so long, I don't have enough time to tell you whether or not it actually lasts as long as they claim. We'll have to take their word for it. Thank you for watching. Big thanks to Brownells for their generosity and hospitality, making us feel at home and giving us ridiculous shit to test with. If you guys have any questions or if you disagree with something, leave a comment below. Have a great day.